So Matthew's question is, what are your thoughts on alternative energy sources?
Well, I definitely think we have to switch to a different way of doing what we're doing. The coal and the oil, that is not what you call sustainable, meaning that we cannot keep doing the same thing because we are running out, and then we are going to have to change. And if we don't start making the move when it finally, like for example, you got a big tank full of water, and it's just you and a few families out there, and you're taking the water, and you're doing fine as long as you keep getting the water. But eventually, your need for it doesn't stop. Matter of fact, your need will only increase, and so you keep depleting it. So fossil fuels is not renewable. It is running out. So we have to. It's not a matter of a choice. We will have to make a choice. We will have to make a turnover, and it's just a matter of how fast can we do it, because many people, you start talking about renewables, and they even deny that we need to switch over at all. They think there's new things we can figure out, and we can just keep doing it. And mainly it's because there is so much money and power. These corporations that are involved in the oil and the drilling and the processing, there is so much money and power involved that they do not want to switch over. So I think, one, we have to switch over. Two, we have to make it where there are more, a lot of people, a lot of corporations, a lot of businesses, and a lot of the decision makers want to see how jobs can be got from these new types of alternatives. So it's important that we invest research into new ways of doing things, because it's like you have to start inventing it. You have to start inventing new processes. We have to start having vehicles out there that are not getting just 20 and 25 miles per gallon. They've known how to do it for a long time, but it was like you made more money if they were, they were getting so little gas. There was a lot more money to be made. And, it was an incentive not to invest in these vehicles that would get 50 and 60 miles an hour. You ever heard the thing about who killed the electric car? Well, it was a deliberate thing. They didn't want an electric car, because electric car, you don't need gas. And but now we're in a crisis. We're in a crisis, and there are some scientists that say if we don't make the move now, it's going to be too late, and we're just looking for a catastrophe, quite frankly. So it's not you kids are living in a very critical time of this planet's history. You really, really are. And matter of fact, I expect that the troubles that we are having, unfortunately, we're going to leave them to y'all. So you kids are the ones who really need to be aware of this, because you are the ones who are going to be facing this stuff.
Will you scoot back for us one more time, Diane? Thank you. I know.
I get it. Yeah.
Very enthusiastic. So on that note, would you talk about some of the I guess, occurrences that are happening along the coast that you think might be related to the deep water. We talked about at the beginning about, I think, shrimp that we're finding, or crawfish. I can't remember, sorry. But that with black lungs. So maybe address that. I know that there was, we talked about we're finding dolphins all along the coast of the United States and other countries with washing up dead, and then on that same note, I know that you have looked into a lot about the muds. We've talked about the drilling industry in this class, and talk to us a little bit of how the evolution of mud from 1900 has turned into the synthetic compounds that are being used in the Gulf today, and how maybe those are related. I don't.
Well, let me see. The problems we're having now, like in my hometown, there used to be. It's a fishing town. There used to be 120 shrimp boats. I mean, that's all we did. We were fishermen. There are probably now 2 shrimp boats. So there is. It's like all of the fish houses, the fish house I worked at, the fish house, Mr. Waghorn used to work for me at the fish house. And they're no longer there, they're bulldozed. That is because there is no market for the shrimp. The shrimp are, seems to be this crisis within the seafood industry. I know in the Gulf of Mexico there is what they call, and even this was NOAA, this was National Oceanic and Ocean Administration. They have been keeping track of all the dolphins that are dying, and they call it a unusual mortality event, meaning there's dolphins dying all over the Gulf, and they're related to the oil spill out there, the Deepwater Horizon. And I know a lot of politicians, a lot of industry, when that huge oil spill happened, you know, there was a lot of interest, there was a lot of media when it was leaking, but the minute it was plugged, it was like the media went on to something else. It's like the newest, the hottest, like keep moving, and your own government wants it to end. They don't want to ask any more questions. Matter of fact, almost 1 year after that, one of the biggest oil spills this country has ever had, 1 year later, and BP was putting, you know, they hired their own scientists, and they were saying, while the Gulf is fine, it's like the fish are coming back, and we don't see any oil, and you know what those fishermen need to do is just go back fishing. Well, what the fishermen were, first of all, the fishermen had been hired by BP to pull up the oil, and they were getting sick because they were out there with these big rubber booms, and instead of shrimp nets, they had these big rubber booms, and they were pulling in the oil, and the company did not want the fishermen to wear masks over their face because they were breathing in all this. They didn't want them to wear the masks because the media was around, and they did not want them to show fishermen wearing masks on their face. They didn't want them to think there was anything dangerous about it. If you ever happen to come around gasoline or hit your head over a bucket of oil, you know it's got a lot of hydrocarbons, and you breathe in that, and it can be very damaging. And so now you have fishing communities, especially fishermen that were pulling in the oil, they are sick. you have a crisis in the shrimp. The amount of shrimp has like been dramatically reduced. They're pulling up crabs with oil in their bodies. The dolphins are dying, and the deep coral reefs down below, they're being impacted. They're vanishing too. And I know one of the